The Dunning Kruger effect and spirituality. Hello, this is Chris speaking. Wake up with a video about the Dunning Kruger effect and spirituality. You probably already heard about the Dunning Kruger effect. What is the Dunning Kruger effect? It means that people overestimate their intelligence. And not only that, the more stupid you are, the stupider you are, the more you overestimate your intelligence. So stupid people vastly overestimate their intelligence and think they're really intelligent. Watch the movie Idiocracy and you know what I mean. Anyway, we are already living in an idiocracy. This is no future scenario anymore. Also, since the ancient Greeks already, since 2500 years, we know that usually the wrong kind of people lust after positions of power in politics or economics. Those are usually also people who are not really intelligent. But they themselves don't know that. They think they're the next best thing to sliced bread. And with intelligence, of course, I don't only mean IQ. There are different forms of intelligence, not only how fast you can understand mathematics. Now, while this Dunning-Kruger effect has wide-reaching consequences in any social scenario, it also has consequences in spirituality. For it is also true in spirituality, unfortunately. People vastly overestimate their level of spiritual awakening or enlightenment. And also in psychology, how far are you on your path of personality development, of trauma therapy, of being rid of your fears and compulsions already? This is all overestimated in many cases. Or one of my pet topics, cities. People overestimate what they're capable of because they think, okay, now I'm enlightened, I should be able to do this and that. But they're not. It's imagination. A very good example is so-called enlightened masters of several schools not mentioning anything about what's going on right now and completely buying in to the mass hysteria. Why do they do that? Mostly because they're afraid to say the wrong things publicly and get punished for it. For example, by their YouTube videos being taken down or the channel being closed. But how can an enlightened person be afraid of something? It's impossible. The definition of enlightenment is that there are no more thoughts and emotions, only presence. So I don't want to criticize anyone. This is for you, for introspection. I recommend you to read up on the Dunning-Kruger effect. There are many good videos on YouTube about it also already. And then really delve deeply inside to see if and where that might apply to you. Human beings are masters of compartmentalization and then not noticing the inherent contradictions that follow. A very popular aspect of the Dunning-Kruger effect is, which you can very easily spot in people and yourself, is because you or someone else is a specialist in one topic, many people think that because they're an expert in one topic, they're an expert in other topics as well, automatically, which is of course not true. There are many YouTube channels, for example, by natural scientists who have a background in physics or chemistry, who make very good videos about physics and chemistry. But sometimes they also make videos about psychology or sociology or politics. which are just plain wrong. But because they are Dr. So-and-so or Professor so-and-so, and they made good videos about other topics in the past, they themselves think, and their followers think, that everything those influencers say is true. Unfortunately, this is also the case with spiritual teachers who talk about science or politics or history or whatever. Not everything they say is necessarily true. Of course, if you're enlightened, and that's a big if, you may be able to download information directly. But not everyone has this skill. And even if it's still good to check facts. I've heard many spiritual teachers who were probably enlightened to talk bullshit about certain things they hadn't thought through yet. Certain cultural norms, for example, that are not conscious. A Chinese enlightened master will think and say other things about family values, for example, than an American one. And someone who grew up in a Christian context will say something else than if he or she grew up in a Hindu context or Islamic context. Naturally. Even if they're not followers of this religion or not anymore, they're still influenced by it, and you have to get rid of conditionings again and again and again. It never stops. Of course, it can also happen that people underestimate themselves. This is very much true in people whose personality is not fully developed. Then they have huge self-doubts or self-hatred even, and underestimate their abilities and knowledge. But that's another topic. It can also go into the same direction, because a minority complex can turn into megalomania, as Adler has pointed out. But in the topic of Dunning Kruger effect, it is only about overestimating your intelligence and your abilities. And unfortunately, it's not only true for analytical intelligence, but also for other things like spirituality. And again, I recommend you to watch the movie Idiocracy and some YouTube videos about the Dunning Kruger effect, and then examine yourself. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me as a Patreon. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing the videos with your friends, and see you soon.